Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our live webinar on capturing opportunities in stocks amid rising inflation with Phillip Nova. This is Phil Gunn, your presenter for today. We'll be starting the session proper at about 7:02 p.m. Let's give some time for our friends to join us. Meanwhile, enjoy your dinner and I'll speak to you really soon. Thank you for joining us once again for our live webinar on capturing opportunities in stocks amid rising inflation with Phillip Nova. This is Phil Gunn. I'm a account manager with Phillip Nova. In today's webinar, we'll be discussing how to get started in stocks trading on the Phillip Nova platform. Before we begin, I'd like to do a sound check. If you can hear me loud and clear, you can type yes into the question box. Also, during the webinar, if you have any questions, you can type them in the question box as well. And I'll address all the questions at the end in the Q&A session. Okay, it seems like everyone can hear me clearly, so let's begin tonight's webinar. Welcome once again to the seminar, Capturing Opportunities in Stocks Amid Rising Inflation with Phillip Nova. With the effects of inflation, we see Fed reversing the QE program and being hawkish on the interest rates. This will no doubt have an impact on the stock market. We'll be discussing Fed's projections at the end of the webinar as well. Before that, let's take a look at the stocks trading on the Phillip Nova net platform. We'll get into that really soon in a bit. My name is Phil Gunn, the speaker for the webinar. I've been with Phillip Nova for more than 10 years now, since 2008. I hold a dual license in futures and stocks, and I'm account manager to help clients trade in futures and forex, as well as shares with understanding the product and market by providing coaching and economic information to make proper trading decisions. Investors are always looking for opportunities in the market, and today I'll be sharing on the Phillip Nova, which serves as a platform for the exchange traded products, including stocks, ETFs, and futures for retail clients. Throughout the webinar, you may have questions. Just feel free to post them in the question box. My facilitator will arrange them and let me know, and I'll answer them at the end at the appropriate time. This webinar will also be recorded and put up for viewing later at your leisure time. So just sit back and relax, get a drink, and enjoy the webinar. Before we start, just a quick disclaimer on the webinar today. Materials provided here is for general information and does not constitute or recommend or solicitate for a trade. The topics that we'll be covering in this webinar is as follows. First, we'll look at the account type for the stocks trading on the Phillip Nova. How are you able to trade the various products on the same platform? We'll see if there's any prerequisite to trade in stocks and the minimum age requirement, what markets will be made available to you, and if there's any cost for access to these markets. Next, we'll look at trading and clearing fees and commission costs. After that, we'll also look at the contract notes, which is actually incorporated in the daily activity statement, and explain on how to read these statements. Lastly, we'll look at the various corporate actions and how they will apply to your account. For the second part of the webinar, we'll look at the Fed statements and the projection of interest rate hikes. We'll also look at the possible support level for 2 US REITs that we mentioned if the market goes for a correction. At the end, there will also be a short demonstration for the Nova platform. Before we start the topic proper, just a quick touch on inflation and the property sectors. So as the inflation story reveals itself, the property prices and rental income tends to rise alongside when inflation rises. So one way to gain exposure to the property sector instead of just buying the property itself and collecting rental rents is through REITs. REITs actually are real estate investment trusts, are companies that own and operate income-producing real estates. However, REITs do have some drawbacks, including their sensitivity to demand over other high-yield assets, like, for example, government bonds. So when the US federal government starts to increase interest rates, the treasury securities generally become more attractive because they actually have a higher pay yield. So what this means that this will draw the funds away from REITs and other investment tools. Investors will actually look into government bonds instead. In turn will actually lower the prices of these shares. So as you can see, recently there's a correction in prices in stock market, and this is actually seen in the REITs sector as well. The correction can actually be a buying opportunity. We'll take a look at two of the REITs that we mentioned at the end of the webinar, and how you can use Phillip Nova to place a trade on them. So let's get started on the trading stocks on Nova. To start off, Nova is actually a multi-asset account. Basically, all the exchange traded products, including stocks and shares, futures and options, and Forex are also available on this multi-asset account. So with one platform, you can gain access to all the exchange traded products as well as Forex. We have the other account MT5, but that's not the topic today. That is mainly on Forex and CFDs. For Nova platform, it's more on the exchange traded products and as well as Forex. So before you can actually place a trade for shares on Nova, this is actually a pre-deposit cash account. Yeah, so you are only allowed to purchase stocks with excess funds, pre-deposited funds. One way to do it is actually to long the shares in the account, and no short selling is allowed. So for short selling, you have to refer to CFDs, another product which is on MT5. So with a single ledger that's shared across futures as well as stocks, this is a multi-currency account, meaning say you can have Sing dollars or US dollars or Hong Kong dollars in the account. And you can actually convert the currencies in this account from one to another. This is good when you actually wish to have trading in different exchange products. For example, in Singapore shares as well as US shares, you can actually convert the currency first at a reasonable rate that is comfortable to you, and maintain that in the currency. This is also advisable for long-term trading in the respective shares, so to cut off the exchange exposure, the exchange rate exposure due to the currency in trading these shares. However, for short term, I would advise you to actually keep the currency as it is in what you hold, and in doing so, you actually have interest being charged on the borrowed amount. But this can be avoided if you want to avoid it, is to convert the currency into the respective currency. So in summary, to say it will be allowed to purchase stocks of other currencies before conversions, meaning to say you can use Sing dollars if you have the equivalent amount in Sing dollars to purchase US shares. However, interest will be charged on the US borrowed amount. So this account is actually a custodian account. So all the shares are kept in custody with Phillip Nova. And this has nothing to do with your Phillip Securities account, which is separate, or any other brokerage houses, meaning to say you will have to sell the shares that's bought with Phillip Nova from to execute the sell trades in Phillip Nova as well. This account does not have the CPF account. You cannot use CPF to trade. You can also not use SRS to trade, or there's no CDP Securities account link as well, as all the stocks are kept under custody with Phillip Nova. There's no custody fees for this account, so not to worry about that. So all the orders are actually executed on the Phillip Nova platform. You can use the platform via the web browser or your mobile phone. I will go into details later on how to do this. Next, we look at the products available for trading. As I mentioned, you can place the orders via the Phillip Nova, and funds are pre-deposited. Once orders are done and executed, the funds are deducted from the account when they are done. So once you sell the shares on liquidation, the funds will only be credited to your account on settlement date on T+2. So let's say if today is Thursday, T+2 will be Monday. So your funds will only be credited in the account on Monday, and withdrawals are only made available to you on Monday and processed on Tuesday. However, you can use these funds this is sales proceeds to purchase other shares once you have sold the shares. Only withdrawals are limited to T+2. The investment products that's available to you are basically all the stocks, the REITs, as well as ETFs in the market. So we currently have the HDX US exchanges, as well as the Hong Kong exchanges, and more products will be added on if there's a demand for it. So feel free to take a look by signing up for our account or the demo account on the shares that's available. For eligibility to trade, there's no minimum age to trade stocks. Actually, the minimum age is 18 years old, but you can actually open the account for stocks account only, as this is a multi-asset account with also future products involved. So 18 years old will not be able to open the futures account in the Phillip Nova, but you have access to stocks and shares. However, anyone above 21 years old can trade both futures and stocks on the Phillip Nova. There's no requirement for CAR or CKA to trade stocks, so all clients will be given trading access for stocks on the Phillip Nova. This applies to existing clients who will have already been given access to stock trading if they are already on the platform, right? There's no prerequisite to open a CDP account before trading HDX stocks, so there's no linkage to CDP. All the stocks are kept in custody. Typically, when you open a CDP account, it takes 3 to 5 days before allowing you to trade on the HDX stocks. Over here, you can make the account opening immediately and have access to trade, and funding can be done via PayNow immediately as well. So for US shares, it's mandatory to have all clients to submit the W8 band form. So this applies here as well for new clients as well as existing clients. For new clients, when they are opening an account, there will be an acknowledgement during the account opening, online account opening, to submit the W8 band form. And once you have done that, you have access to all the US stocks, and they will be enabled on the Phillip Nova. For existing clients who wish to have access, they will need to submit the W8 band form on the client portal before the US stocks are enabled. Okay, let's move on to market data. Existing clients will have the asset class stocks added, and they'll be seeing it on their Phillip Nova platform by default. For other exchanges like Hong Kong Exchange, there's a subscription fee, and so the application has to be made via the client portal, and the cost is recurring for $120 monthly. And for Nasdaq, New York Exchange, and as well as AMEX, all the US exchanges, the level one market data fee is waived, so you do not have to pay for the live market data access. So unless you're a professional trader, there will be costs incurred as shown in the table below. Else, this will be given to you once you sign up for the W8 band form. So what are the costs that are involved besides the commission costs, which I mentioned later, is the trading and clearing fees by the exchange itself. So this is broken to different exchanges. For the HDX shares trade on HDX, there will be a trading fee of 0.0075% on the contract value, plus the clearing fee of 0.0325% on the contract value. Contract value means the cost of the shares, market value of the shares that you purchase. And on top of that, there's a settlement instruction fee of 35 cents per counter per trade, right? This is for the HDX exchange. For Hong Kong exchange, you're denominated in Hong Kong dollars, so trading fee will be 0.005% plus Hong Kong 50 cents. The levy will be 0.0027% of the contract value. Clearing fee will be 0.002% with a minimum of Hong Kong $2 and maximum of Hong Kong $100 per order. There'll be also a stamp duty imposed of 0.13%. So add up all this will be a cost for the transaction cost besides the commissioning cost. For the US exchange fees as follows: the SEC membership fee. These are only applicable to sell trades only, is 0.30 and 51%. The trading activity fee also for selling trades only, 0.000119 per share, maximum of 595 USD. For buying trades, this does not apply. Yeah, so there's ADR and DR contracts are different. Yeah, so next we have the custodian fees, which is waived and being absorbed, and this will be subject to changes, but I doubt they'll be imposing this on you. So custody fees are free. You can keep the stocks and shares with us for no charge at all. As mentioned, you cannot sell these shares elsewhere. However, if you want to do so, you need to do a transfer first. This is what is position transfer fee will come in, and this will be advised if you wish to do so and subject to review by Phillip Nova. So having the shares stocked with Phillip Nova, there will be corporate action fees incurred, and the rates will be mentioned later at the end of the webinar. So corporate actions like rights and so on, there will be some fees involved for that. So for commission board rates, right, this is shown here on top of this exchange and trading fees, divided by shown separately on each individual exchange. So for Singapore exchange, we are charging only 0.08%, which is very competitive in the market. There's no minimum amount for transaction, so you can trade as small as you want. Doesn't affect the there's no minimum cost for the brokerage. So the minimum amount number you can trade in Singapore exchange is 100 shares per counter. So that's the minimum number of shares, and you can only trade in this lot size, mean say 100 or 200 or 300 shares. Right? For the United States, shares volume go down to single share. So one share you can purchase at the lowest amount. The commission rate is 0.01%. It's very, very low. However, there's a minimum amount of $5 per order, so it might not be cost effective for you to trade just one share. Yeah, and for Hong Kong exchange is 0.12%, and the minimum charge for Hong Kong is 28 Hong Kong dollars per order. So take note, there's no amalgamation of trades for exchanges. This means, let's say if you do the trades on the same day, but on two different orders, same site buy, but on different timings within the same day, the trades will not be combined. This does not have an impact on HDX shares since there's no minimum per transaction. However, for United States shares, there's a minimum of $5. So when you say if you do two separate trades on the same counter on the same site, you still have to pay two minimum of 5 USD, and this will not be amalgamated and combined together. Yeah, so no amalgamation of trades for all the exchanges. So commission is charged per trade basis, so this applies based on the contract value. As you can see, the rates are very competitive, and it's quite attractive to trade stocks and shares with us. So you can take a look at the Phillip Nova platform. Next, we move on to trading limits. Since Phillip Nova is a pre-deposit cash custodian account, so you can buy shares based on the excess funds in your account, and there's no trading limit imposed. As long as you have sufficient funds to purchase the shares, the funds will be deducted and the order will go through, right? However, there's a flat single order size of 1 million apply for all stocks. So in each single trade, the amount is USD 1 million, right? Stocks are only tradable in bought lot size on the Phillip Nova, and there's no fractional shares available for trading on Phillip Nova. So for fractional lots that's allocated to you via corporate actions, they can only be liquidated via coin to our dealers. However, for these corporate actions, Phillip Nova actually round down the number to the whole number. So you'll not be allocated fractional lot size if you are given the fractional lots according to the corporate action. So this is on trading limits. Right, I hope you're following so far. we'll actually touch on the statements for the stocks and shares now. Shown here is actually a daily activity statement. There's no contract notes for each of the individual share or trades that you do, but they are actually shown or incorporated in the daily activity statement together alongside with the futures products and other trader products. So all the trades that you've done today will be shown in the statement, the daily statement that will be emailed to you in the morning the following day. Yeah, so for example, over here, you can see at the top is the adjustment is where the funds are deposited or withdrawn, if any, will be shown over here. The next section over here is actually where the trades are done the day before. Over here, you see the Hong Kong Exchange Rate, the Hang Seng Bank, and the price which is being bought in and the amount that's being bought. And there's also a sell trade over here. So the contract value is shown under amounts over here, and the currency denominated in Hong Kong dollars. So for this trade itself, you can see there's a total of 90 shares bought and sold of 60 shares. And the cost for all this will be shown here, the trading cost as well as commission in Hong Kong dollars, 1,500 Hong Kong dollars, and foreign fees of $1.71 Hong Kong dollars, and other clearing fees and whatnot. So each trade is actually broken down into the different shares, and they are combined together, so for easy viewing in your daily statement. So you can see other shares being shown here, Shangri-La, Song Hong Kaiko, and so forth. Also on this page is a second page for the HDX shares that will be similarly shown based on share by share. And you can see that this is a Sing Medical. There's 300 shares being bought, and the amount is this one that will cost you, and this is the cost for the trading fees and commission, right? So the contract note, so to speak, is shown here via the daily activity statement. Right, so at the end there will also be the outstanding stocks proceed over here. So outstanding stocks proceed, meaning because the shares takes time to settle, all the shares that you've seen previous two slides on the statement will also be shown here until they are settled T+2 later on. So these are the incoming funds that will be credited in the account once they've been settled. So as you can see, the currency is still denominated in Hong Kong dollars, and for withdrawal, you can do the currency conversion via the client portal. Just to reiterate, stocks are settled on T+2 basis. So if you sell today, you receive the cash 2 days later, and no withdrawal of funds is allowed for the unsettled stocks. However, you can use this amount over here to buy other shares once you have started selling them. Right, this is a summary of the summary portion of the financial statement or the daily activity statement. I'll start from the top and explain to you how to read this. And at the very top, you have the cash before. This is the amount of funds in the account before you start all the deductions. The adjustment is any deposit or withdrawals done the previous day. So you can see here multi-currency account. You can see Sing dollars, US dollars, and Hong Kong dollars that you may have. Yep, and over here there's a base USD. This is actually just an indicative value based on the floating exchange rate. This does not mean that you have actually done the currency conversion, but just showing the combined value of all these currencies that you have over here. So for example, over here you have 80,000 Sing dollars, 160,000 US dollars, and 100,000 Hong Kong dollars. This gives you a base value of 231,563 base USD. This does not mean that you have converted them to USD, but just an indicative floating value based on the exchange rate. And this may change from day to day. So with this amount of funds, you can see that the commission netcom charge based on the trades, right? And then the realized profit and loss is shown over here. This is for futures contracts and does not apply to stocks and shares. So for stocks and shares, look at stocks purchase over here. So if you have bought any shares, this is the amount that's being deducted for the purchase of shares the day before. Any sales proceeds from stocks will be shown over here. Yeah. So with that deduction of that, we have a equity balance over here, and you can use this amount to trade buy more shares. right? The initial margin over here, sorry, so the initial margin over here is the amount used for futures trading to set aside if you have open position. Currently, there's no open position for futures trading. And with the deduction, the allowable withdrawal limit is 187,000. Yep, that is because there's outstanding stocks proceed that takes T+2 to settle. As mentioned, you cannot withdraw the funds before they are settled. However, you can use the funds, the net equity, for trading. So the net equity or margin excess is 193K, but the allowable withdrawal is 187K until the stocks are settled. Right. So that's how you read the financial statement. To give you a summary on how you see the statement based on the shares as well as the futures products that's available for trading. Okay, so now we move on to corporate actions. Basically, there's two types of corporate actions, the mandatory ones and the voluntary ones. So the mandatory corporate actions, these events are actually initiated by the board of directors of the corporation that will affect all shareholders. Examples of such actions include, but not limited to, cash dividends, bonus issue, stock splits and consolidations, and of course acquisitions and delisting and so forth. Yep, that is pretty rare. So Phillip Futures will send notification to clients holding positions in securities to inform of the expected events. This will be done via email. No acknowledgement is required, and since they are mandatory to be carried out no matter what. So I'll touch on how each corporate action will be done in later slides in detail. So the other type of corporate action is voluntary ones when action is required from you. So events where shareholders are given the option to elect or participate in the action. Examples of such include but not limited to rights issue, share buybacks, right? So Phillip Nova will review the event or the offer. A notification will be sent to inform customers of their entitlement with their securities held. Customers will need to reply to the email should they elect to participate in the event. For example, like rights, you wish to exercise the rights, you have to reply the email. Should the event not be supported, customers will be notified of the alternate course of action. For these actions, there may be funds required. If there are insufficient funds in the account to subscribe in or participate in the event, the application will be rejected. Customers may rescind their subscription or application for an event before the deadline stipulated by Phillip Nova. Electing to participate in the event does not constitute to a successful application. Should subscriptions or applications for any corporate actions be unsuccessful, you will also be notified via email. Well, just a disclaimer, Phillip Nova is not obliged to notify or make available all the company announcement and corporate actions for the relation to the securities and holders. Yeah, but generally we send emails for all the corporate actions. And for mandatory ones, no action is required, but for voluntary ones, you can reply via the email, and if there's sufficient funds, it will be carried out. All right, for the first mandatory corporate actions, we have the cash dividends. A cash dividends is a cash payment to shareholders from the company's profits or retained earnings. The frequency and the amount will depend on the company's performance and announced by the company itself. So you can actually find this information online easily. There are many websites that combine this dividends information on Singapore shares or even on NASDAQ or US exchange shares. So if you hold a stock to its X dividend date, there's an X date required, you'll be eligible or entitled to this cash dividends. So let's say you hold a share and the X date is today and you sell the share today, you'll still be entitled to the cash dividends. However, you cannot sell before the X date, right? So company announce the distribution and the X date will come and you'll be entitled. There will be also a payment date announced, which Phillip Nova will actually receive this payment and distribution on T day for Asian markets. For US markets, it will be T+2 from the payment date announced. So for US market, it will take an extra day for us to credit this amount of this cash dividends for US markets. On T+3, you'll be shown in your account in the statement. Yep, so it's pretty straightforward. This is mandatory and we'll just credit the funds. For example, if it's US dividends, it will be in US dollars, it will remain in US dollars. Take note that for US cash dividends, there will be 30% tax withholding tax that's not charged by us, but by US. No matter whether you're US citizen or not, that will be deducted from the cash dividend announced by US. For Singapore shares, there's no withholding tax. Okay, so sorry, one more thing to add is that we do not charge corporate action processing fees. However, counterparty exchange charges relating from corporate actions, if they charge, counterparty charges us, we'll pass on to you. But it will vary from time to time, so we reserve discretion to do so. One other thing to mention about the cash dividends is there's a 1% on the net dividends subject to a minimum of $1.07 and a maximum of 53.50 cents for each dividend. So let's say if the dividend is $100, 1% will be $1. That will be deducted on top of the dividends that you receive. Yeah, that's the extra cost that you might be informed of for the cash dividend. Okay, now we'll move on to the bonus issue. So bonus issue refers to the issuance of bonus shares by a company to entitled shareholders. If you hold a stock once again to the X date, this time the X bonus day, you'll be entitled to the bonus issue after the payment date. So similarly shown here on payment date T, day for Asian markets, we'll receive it on T+2 for US markets, and this will be credited on T+3 for the US markets, and the added amount of shares, bonus issue shares, will be adjusted accordingly on the Nova platform. So as mentioned, the odd lots are not tradable, so there may be fractional shares given, and for this, you have to do the call and to liquidate. However, we actually do not we round down the number for the odd lots for corporate actions, so you'll be given a full number for the number of shares that you receive from this issue of corporate action. So there's actually a for this corporate action, there's actually a fees and charge typically of $10.70, which is inclusive of GST for each of this issue. So this will be advised again also in the email when this is mentioned, announced by the company. So that's for bonus issue. For shares consolidations and splits, for shares consolidation, it reduces the number of shares held by existing shareholders. Because there's a reduction in the number of shares, the share price will increase proportionally. So if you hold a stock to its effective date of consolidation, your positions and average traded price will change to reflect this consolidation of shares. Adjustment for the exchanges operating in Asian time zone will be made after the close of the trading, one trading day prior to the effective date of consolidation. For US exchanges, it will be made before the commencement of trading on the effective date of consolidation. So there's also a stock split. Stock split is the reverse of stock consolidation. So the number of shares actually increases when you have this stock split. And because of this, the share price will be divided proportionally. For example, Tesla has done this as well. Yeah. So if you hold on to the stock to its effective date of split, your positions and average traded price will be adjusted to reflect the split. Adjustment for exchanges operated in Asian time zone will be made after the close of trading, similarly consolidation. For US exchanges, it will made before the trading on the effective date of the split. So one other common corporate action is the rights issue. So you still have to hold until the X date before you're entitled to these rights. A rights issue refers to offering to existing shareholders by a company to purchase additional shares, warrants in proportion to their existing holdings. So you actually have to come out of the cost, usually a premium to the market price, in order to subscribe to these rights, and you increase your holdings on the amount of shares. So usually at the if the rights there are two types of rights. There's a renounceable rights, and renounceable means able to trade, and this is only applicable for a period of time, and you may sell off these renounceable rights to others if you want to, if it's profitable to you to do so, minusing the cost of the commission and everything. But typically it's a small amount, so it will not be cost effective for you to do that. If not, you can also choose to exercise the rights, meaning say you want to buy the rights and exercise them. I mean, you're entitled to it, you don't have to buy the rights, you're given the rights, but you want to exercise them. But there's an amount to pay at a discount of the market price in order to add into your holdings. So this will be deducted from your accounts if you have sufficient funds. If you have insufficient, of course, the application will be rejected, right? So you can reply your option to do this by replying to the email that we issue to you. And just to take note that Phillip Nova reserves the right to enabling the trading of renounceable rights for this corporate action. Okay, so here are all the corporate actions are all applicable to you if you actually buy shares through us. We have come to the end of the first part of the webinar. We'll actually touch on the FOMC statements and projections. Before that, we'll just take a 10 seconds break. Okay, so for the FOMC economic projections, the Fed's main matrix for inflation is the core PC inflation data. The core PC inflation data is the core personal consumption expenditures. This strips out the volatile food as well as energy costs. Currently, recent data in December was above 4%, as shown from the economic projections released by the Fed. A broader measure of another inflation data is the CPI, which you may have heard of, is the Consumer Price Index. This includes everything. Show the prices that rose at a higher amount by percentage by 6.8% compared to the year prior. This is the highest level in 39 years. So as you can see, inflation data is pretty high at this moment. This is why FOMC participants, given in their statement, generally noted that the individual outlook for the economy, labor market, and the inflation into perspective, it may become warranted to increase the federal funds rate sooner or at a faster pace than what participants had initially anticipated. Meanwhile, several participants also view labor market conditions as already largely consistent with maximum employment. So this means they actually have a view that and pretty concerned about the rising inflation, and they will actually take action into the interest rates, increasement on interest rate. But before they can do that, the Fed has announced that it will ramp up the speed at which it tapers its bond purchases. This refers to the printing of money, putting the nation's central bank on course to eliminate the emergency quantitative easing or QE program a few months earlier than expected. So in their statement, in light of inflation developments and the further improvement of the labor market, the committee has decided to reduce the monthly pace of its net asset purchases by 20 billion for treasury securities and 10 billion for agency mortgage-backed securities. That's what the Fed statement read. These figures are notably twice the amount that was announced previously, and I believe they will actually speed up this process even further because they will have to taper down the QE before they can actually increase the interest rates, right? So taking account into the rising inflation, they are urgently attempting to complete tapering as soon as possible, while leaving the option for some time for the first rate hike open. Hence, the way the Fed handles this is the balance sheet normalization is more important or consequential for markets than the actual timing and pace of the interest rate increase itself. As they do this, the stock market will go for a correction, and we'll see what we can do with what is the sector that we can go into. So the FOMC minutes suggest that the first rate hike could come as early as March this year. Right. So actually, as we mentioned in the beginning of the webinar, as inflation comes, one of the sector that's attractive is actually the REIT sector, because with rising costs, so are the costs for the rental as well as property prices. So owning them may be costly or requires huge capital, but you can do it through REITs. And we are looking at one of the two that will be mentioned today on the US market, the American Tower Corporation. This is an American real estate investment trust and an owner and operator of wireless and broadcast communications infrastructure in several countries as well. It has a market cap of 113 billion. For the fiscal year ending of 2020, it has reported revenue of 8 billion and a net income of 1.7 billion. For this REIT, it pays out quarterly dividends, and the dividend yield also shown here is 2.2%. The PE ratio is pretty high at 45, and as you can see for the chart itself, it shows a correction phase in prices with the support at $242 as shown by the support line. For the first test of support, there can be a rebound for short term. However, the main support is at 200, at the price of 200, which is a possible scenario if the treasury yields continue to rise and become more attractive. So if the inflation persists, causing rising rental and property prices, it can be a buying opportunity for long term. But this is not a recommendation for trade and information, and it's only meant for sharing purposes. So this is one of the REITs, the American, and a typical ticker symbol for American Tower Corporation is AMT, and this is traded on the New York Stock Exchange. All right, next we'll move on to the Kimco Realty Corporation. This is also a real estate investment trust. This invests in shopping centers. As of December 2020, the company owns interest in 400 US shopping centers and mixed-use assets comprising to 70 million square feet of leasable space. So Kimco Realty is the first public vertically integrated REIT designed to be internally managed and advised, providing its own property and asset management. The market cap is 15 billion. For the fiscal year ending 2020, it has a reported revenue of 1.04 billion and net income of 975 million. Similarly, it pays out quarterly dividends, and the dividend yield per annum is 2.72%. P ratio is 12.68, which is reasonable. Also shown here, you can see recent selling has been pretty strong, but the overall trend is an uptrend, as you can see. So attractive buying support levels, immediate support level is 23.22 or 22.18. Our main support is at 20.86. So these are two of the REITs that's mentioned, and as mentioned, this is just to sharing purposes and not meant to for a recommendation for a trade. Okay, so all the shares are available for trading on the Phillip Nova, and we do have a promotion right now if you open the account within 24 hours for $50 credit into account. So stay tuned for more later on. Phillip Nova is available via the web browser as well as on your mobile on the go. You can download the app also to trade Phillip shares as well as other exchange traded products like futures on this platform. Next, we'll move on to the demonstration of the platform itself. So this is the Phillip Nova platform. Right, once you log in, this is where the prices are, and this is the trade menu, and these are where you monitor the position. So it's a pretty straightforward and easy to use platform. So before you start, there's many shares to add in, so you have to choose from the add menu over here. As you can see, the colors are different, indicated differently. For shares is in blue color, and the symbol is stocks ST. For futures contract, this is the indices futures. On the median down, this is indicated by FUT. So to do so, you can just click on add, select the asset class that you want to trade in. So for this will be stocks, and then it's divided accordingly to the exchanges. So the US exchanges, the Hong Kong exchange, and the Singapore exchange. So for example, let's say you wish to do technology stocks, you can click on NASDAQ, and there's a ton of them over here on the next sections will be shown here. So an easier way is to actually type the name of the shares you want to do. For example, Tesla, or you want to type in the symbol, it will also show you the share. So just you can add this to watch list by clicking on it, and once you click, it disappears and it will be shown on the watch list right over here. Yeah, so we'll move on to how to place the orders for this one. You click on this one, and on the stock name itself, there's three options. You can see the chart, place order, and so forth. So let's take a quick look at the chart. Yeah, so for the charts, you can change this to one daily charts, and you can see the prices on the daily chart. So to make, because of time constraints, I'll just move on to the order placement and not touch on charts today. So for the option for place order, you can click on this. And for US shares, the order types, right, you have all the three order types, the limit order, or you want to do a market order or a stop loss order. For Singapore Exchange and Hong Kong Exchange, only the limit order is available, and you can execute the market order using the limit order as well by clicking on limit and entering the market price, and you'll be executed immediately. So basically, limit price means you're in a queue for the price, right? So for example, the market is not open yet for US shares, but there's a pre-market for Phillip Nova. It starts at 8 p.m. The actual market trading hours is 10:30. Do take note that pre-market US hours are limited volume and they may not even move at all. So it's not really advisable unless you're urgently trying to purchase shares before the announcement of the earnings before the market opens, or you wish just to liquidate as soon as possible. Yeah, but you can do so at 8 p.m. Subject to daylight savings. So if it's daylight savings, it's 7 p.m. But right now it's at 8 p.m. And the market closes at 5 a.m. for the US shares. So for example, over here, the shares for this counter is showing this spread, but it's not open yet. But if it's open, you can queue for a lower price. Let's say $900. Just sorry, can't place it for 980. 995 probably. Yeah, you can place an amount for the share itself, and this is the number of shares you can buy. Smallest number is 1 for US shares. You can change it, and the cost will show here. Once submitted, this amount will be deducted from your account, and yeah, so you have to pre-deposit the funds before you can actually place the shares. So you can actually click buy or sell. Right. So similarly, market is just a market order. You can click buy or sell, whatever market price that you click on when you click it. And the last one is stop limit order. This is for stop loss order, assuming you already have a position and you want to have a stop limit. For example, a buy position, you will have to instill a sell stop limit. So if the price goes down, you have a stop loss, right? So this price will be lower than the market price, and the trigger price is where we see under stop price over here. So let's say if it drops below 900 and you want to cut loss, yes, you can indicate stop loss price at 900. And typically, the limit price is the range that you put. So you're willing to take. So from $900, if it's not done, you can do at 899.99 and so forth, and keep working until this price. So you can stipulate it at 890. So within 900 and 890, you'll execute the stop loss as the best available price. This is to ensure that the stop loss is actually done, and you'll not miss the stop loss. All right, so this is the placement of trades. And for the monitoring of trades, you can see here working orders will be shown over here, and completed orders over here, right? And open positions tab as well is also available, right? So yeah, you can view the various information live according to the market price over here. And the status of the fund is shown right at the bottom for easy viewing. To start out, the account balance shows the amount of funds you have. This portion over here, leverage trading, is only applicable to futures trading, so does not apply to stocks. So there's a realized amount and an unrealized amount for open positions on futures contracts, right? For net sales proceeds is where you'll be concerned for shares. For intraday trades, you'll be able to see the trades sales proceeds over here. They will be shown over here, and the next day it will flow into the account balance, right? So account equity is the amount of funds as after the sales proceed, okay? And this amount can be used for there's this initial margin and available margin amount is for futures contracts. After deducting that, you can see there's a total stocks value as well. This is the current market value of all the shares you have in the account, and there's an unrealized P&L of this stocks portfolio that you have according to the live market price. And this amount over here, unrealized, cannot be used as funds for your futures contracts over here. However, this unrealized profit over here under account credit can be used for purchase of shares for new orders for shares. So there's a difference over here. Yeah. Yeah, basically that's explaining on the platform itself. I hope you are following. If you have any questions, just feel free to type them in the question box. Meanwhile, we'll move on to the closing session, and stay tuned as we will be sharing on the promotion that we have. We almost come to the end of the webinar. Hope you find the info useful. Let me just touch on the available services offered by Phillip Capital. If you sign up for the account, which is available online using my QR code, which will be shown later, I'll be providing WhatsApp economic data updates every week. There will also be technical discussions on the trades, and I'll be assisting you personally with any questions pertaining to your account or trading. I cover markets of Forex, global indices, precious metals, energy, and commodities. You'll still be executing the trades yourself, but you have a second perspective on the technical aspect of these trades. So other added services are the research portal, the Trading Central. Our in-house analysts also email technical reports on suggested levels for your reference. These are suggested entry and exit levels for considerations, showing directional views from the global research desk. These are starting points for stock indices and commodities, S&P, Dow Jones, Nikkei, China A50, Nikkei 225, crude oil, etc. So for more on the futures side. For the stock side, we have this one stock before the bell via WhatsApp. If you're interested, you can let me know and I'll send them to you. So for this, we have a daily one stock recommendation before the UX market bell WhatsApp. You can gain information on the stock itself. If you wish to receive them, just let me know and it will be circulated via WhatsApp. A write up on the market movement and the company background will be sent to you as shown in these examples. Right. So for opening account, trading stocks with our Nova platform is very easy on the desktop. There's also a mobile app to trade on the go on your phone. If you're interested to get started, you can open a live trading account with Phillip Nova at no cost. There's no minimum deposit required. There's also no admin fee or cost in maintaining an account for inactivity. So you can simply just open an account for free. Yep, but there's a promotion right now, and this is QR code for the promotion. For this promotion, you will receive $50 if you open an account. But there's a catch. There's a minimum deposit required for $1,000 sync, right? But this has to be done within 24 hours from this webinar, and the cutoff time is 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Yeah. So if you open an account and using this QR code within 24 hours and make a deposit within a week, you'll receive the $50 credited in account for trading purposes. The process is very easy. Just scan the QR code using SingPass. You can open an account within minutes. Simply create an ID by scanning QR code, and then this will be tagged to me. I'll be assisting you as your servicing broker. Alternatively, you can, don't use this link, just use the QR code to gain access to the promotion. Foreigners who are interested can also use this QR code to open an account. If you have further inquiries, just feel free to drop me a WhatsApp message or email. My contact information will be given at the end. Right, just to further share with you this promotion. So this is the promotion for 24 hours for account opening. If you open an account now and fund with a minimum of 1,000 Sing dollars, you receive $50 Sing credit in account. You can simply open the account with SingPass first, and instructions of the funding will be made known to you later. So step one is for the webinar attendees only. To scan the QR code that's flashed here, complete the account opening form to open the Nova or MT5 platform within 24 hours from this webinar. Therefore, the cutoff time is tomorrow, Friday at 8 o'clock p.m. at night. Any account opening submitted after 8 o'clock will not be eligible for the promotion. So you will receive the account activation email once approved, and you have to fund in the account with a minimum of Sing dollars 1,000 within a week of the account activation, meaning to say the funds will have to come in no later than 28th of January next week. That's next Friday, I believe. Yeah. So we'll follow up with you again on how to do the funds transfer via PayNow, right? So applicants will be receiving $50 Singapore trading credit within 2 weeks from this webinar once you have funded the account. So this promotion is not be used in conjunction with any other promotion. Please note there's also a minimum with no withdrawal period for 3 months after opening the account. So just feel free to take this opportunity to start the account opening first, given the promotion. I'll give 10 seconds for you to scan this QR code. You can get access immediately to the US as well as the Singapore shares live prices, and funds transfer can be made within minutes via PayNow. The commission rate is one of the most competitive in the market, as you've seen in previous slides. So it is actually a good idea for you to start make use of this opportunity to open an account. Well, meanwhile, let me just see if there's any questions that I will answer. Okay, for the first question, for Nova, if we trade FX and index, we cannot short. Okay, the topic today is shares. So for other products like Forex and indexes available on the Nova platform also, you can short those products. These products are all leverage products, meaning say they are based on margin and there will be margin cost triggered. This is different from the shares, which is based on full payments of the shares. So there's a difference there. So there's no shorting allowed for shares, but there's shorting allowed for Forex and index. Is there any charges for Nova platform? Absolutely no charge. There's also no charge for inactivity fee or dormant accounts. You can simply open an account for free and leave it available until you're ready to use it. And funding is very quickly, and you can, once the funds are received within 15 minutes or half an hour by PayNow, you can actually use the funds immediately to start trading. So you'll be given access to the live access to this once you sign up for the account, to live US prices and whatnot. And then when you're ready, you can just fund the account and trade. Is there a demo account to try on? Yes, there is, and we will actually show you the link for the demo account. Okay, I believe most of you have already scanned this code. So this is the, on the left is the demo account for Phillip Nova. On the demo account, you can actually see only SG shares, so not US shares, but you can also place trades on this. So feel free to just try them out. But there's a promotion going on, so you might want to do the accounting first if you want to. Yeah, it's a coaching service. Is your coaching services chargeable? No, it's not chargeable. It's only a technical aspects of the product of the chart. So basically, it's a technical course of beginners on how to read the charts and what to look out for in order to analyze charts. So we'll be touching on products that you're interested in, be it indices, futures, or stocks and shares. Is there any maintenance fee required to maintain trading account? Yeah, there's no maintenance fee, no extra cost, hidden cost. Once you open an account, the account opening is free and it's free to maintain. Of course, access to certain exchanges are chargeable, like Hong Kong Exchange. Yeah. So as long as you don't subscribe to those exchanges, you'll not be charged for the live price access. So we do have some promotion rates for certain shares depending on the theme of the month. For example, this month we have the theme for US stocks for the month of January. The promotion rate is 0.01%, but the minimum charge instead of $5 is actually only $1.99. So there'll be on-off such promotions also when you're trading with us. So the US shares counters such as Apple, Cisco Systems, Lucid Group, NVIDIA, Sophie Technologies, ADB Micro Devices, Grab Holdings, Microsoft Corporation, Progenity Incorporation, and Zinca Incorporation. So these are these counters for the US side that's having a huge promotion right now for trading. The minimum is only $1.99. And the next one is for Singapore shares. Instead of 0.08%, 0.05% commission charge for the mentioned shares, Ascenders REITs, Yangtze Shipbuilding, Daiwa House Logistics, Sabana REIT, sorry, Mapletree Industrial Trust, basically all the REIT sector, Capital Corporation, EC World REIT, Area Logos Logistics, Mapletree Logistics Trust, and Ames APAC REIT. So the topic for Singapore shares is the REITs, so there's a promotion rate for that as well. So one other question from another attendee is, can I transfer shares from points account to this? Yeah, you can actually do so. So as mentioned, these are separate accounts. Although we are under the same Phillip Capital branch, you can only sell shares with us once the shares are transferred over. Then because the cost incurred, so you have to check with Phillip Securities that's chargeable for transfer, and you can do so to transfer the shares over by initiating the transfer on the Phillip Securities site. All right, just to check if there's any other further questions. My contact information is as follows. I hope you have got the QR codes that you need. Yeah, we have now come to the end of the session. Just one last check. There's no other further questions. Yeah, that's all the time we have for today. Feel free to drop me a message or email if you have any queries. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience. A link to the recording of this webinar will be available in the follow-up email tomorrow. If you have any query on the webinar or would like to get started, simply reply to our email and we'll get in touch with you. So this is Phil Gunn signing off. Thank you and have a good evening ahead.